Season 2 of DTBY's community podcast hosted by the CYC.
We are a movement dedicated to inspiring, mentoring, and building the leadership qualities of tomorrow's leaders.
Last season, our focus was promoting inclusivity and raising awareness about organizations making a difference in our community.
Season, we're focusing on individuals who are creating impact on the lives of youth.
Before we introduce this episode's guest, we would first like to offer a land acknowledgement.
Although this gathering is virtual, we recognize that DTBY convenes on the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional territory of many nations, including the Haudenosaunee and the Huron-Wendat peoples, also serving as home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples.
At the Dare to Be Youth charity, we are proud to promote the spirit of helping, sharing, and caring for our neighbors without the expectation that has been exemplified by each of these nations as the first peoples of this land for thousands of years. And we wish to acknowledge our gratitude for the ongoing opportunity to live, work, and build community on this land.
It is our collective responsibility to care for each other, to care for these lands. And it is past time to turn reflection into action. We challenge ourselves and everyone here today to commit to one tangible next step to move this work forward.
Welcome back to DTBY's community podcast and welcome to the 7th episode of our new season. My name is Ellis and I will be the host for this episode alongside my fellow CYC member, Cassia. On behalf of DTBY and the rest of the CYC, it is our pleasure to welcome Miranda Ayim. Miranda is a 3-time Olympian, a long-time supporter of DTBY, and will be one of the workshop facilitators at Youth Inspire Community Day 2023. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So Miranda, we're going to start off by giving our listeners a little introduction to who you are. So if you wouldn't mind, to start, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my name is Miranda Ayim, 3-time Olympian with Team Canada, spent the last 20 plus years playing basketball professionally all around the world, mostly in Europe, went in the school in the States and then headed over to play pro in Europe, and then obviously with Team Canada as well. And all of those experiences were incredible. Mostly because of all the lessons that I've learned through the course of competing at a high level. And I take a lot of those lessons and experiences and interweave them to what I do on a day-to-day basis, which is mainly working with clients and helping them take their game to the next level, so to speak. And I don't talk about that in the sporting sense at all, because often I really don't work with a lot of athletes. I'm working with people in the business space, academic space, the youth space as well, who are trying to build habits that will lead them to success.
It's almost insane the amount of work that you've done. It's so inspiring to hear about it. So I guess that brings us to our next question, which is, how did you get involved with DTBY?
I actually got involved with DTBY through RBC. So I work with RBC. This will be a little promo commercial for the Royal Bank of Canada, because I do some work with them with their RBC Olympian program. And I met Shannon Tobin through that experience because they reached out to have me as their keynote for Youth Inspire Community Day. I guess that would be 2020. Was it 2021 or 2022? 2021, right? Oh my goodness. Time is flying by. So I've been with DTBY for a minute now. And so that was my kind of entryway into the world of this incredible organization. And then was brought in to do a mentorship with Miranda, which is kind of group coaching with the CYC. Which is a really awesome interactive program that we get to deep dive into some cool topics and themes. And then I continue to be involved with Youth Inspire Community Day because it's just a time and a half and I love to be involved.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Miranda. We love that you're so involved in everything that you do for us. And I know the CYC so truly appreciates the mentorship with Miranda aspect, and we learn from you so much. So this leads me to, why have you decided to support DTBY for this long? And more specifically, why do you support DTBY's mission?
Goodness. As soon as you go to one event with DTBY, I think you can see like the difference in the ambiance in the air. First of all, it's a youth-led organization. There's a big emphasis on peer mentorship, which I think is really important because it puts people in positions where they're able to develop skills, especially around leadership and just being really involved in their community, which just creates a powerful, empowered generation. So I really, really enjoy working with groups that have that emphasis, with an emphasis on empowerment. And then just like selfishly, I get to work with a group of really motivated, inspiring youth that give me energy. So like it seems like a win-win.
That's great to hear, honestly. We got to learn so much from you during our mentorship sessions and more to come for sure. So it's great to have you here. And as you know, this year we will also be hosting our third annual Youth Inspire Community Day Summit on November 5th, with this year's theme being impact, so individuals making progress across communities together. We wanted to know, like, what kind of experiences have impacted you to kind of bring you to the person you are today?
I'd say that team sport in particular has really developed a lot of characteristics that have made me the person I am today. I'll put the asterisks with like especially specific people, like a support group that has helped me kind of put all of that together and often serve as models as kind of the right way to go. But I think being part of team sport, the individual is very important because you need to bring your A game. We're only as strong as the sum of our parts, but you also rely on each other. So it has the little bit of both. It has the community aspect. It's inherent because you're working with people. So you learn those skills of communication, responsibility, like accountability, sacrifice, a lot of those skills that you must learn in accordance and in relation with other people. And then just the skills of hard work, pushing your boundaries, or rather your limits, your self-imposed limits. A lot of those values have made me the person I am today.
So I think that's so great to hear that you mentioned how you're part of a community, right? And everyone deserves to find that community they're a part of. So with your experience, and what all has impacted you to be the person you are today, why do you then continue to choose to scale that impact and make an impact on other people?
Oh, that's a good question. I Without going too far of a rabbit hole into the creation of myself and my identity, but just a little touch. I think I feel like a deep responsibility to give back. My mom has this quote. I don't know if she made it up or she got it from someone else. Is you're blessed to be a blessing. It's kind of along the lines of to whom much is given, much is required. I think I've been super blessed in my life, and I have been afforded a lot of experiences and opportunities, and have learned some lessons along the way, like I mentioned, and I feel indebted to pass that on if I can. So that's why I try to continue to show up in these spaces, because honestly, we're all in this together, and if we can make the road a little bit easier for someone else, why not?
Such an inspiring lesson, honestly, like the personal connection. I love it. But we already know now that you have collaborated a lot with many youth groups, including the CYC. So we wanted to ask you, what's the importance, in your opinion, of impacting the lives of young people, of students?
It's the next leaders of our world, our generation. It's our future. Like that sounds cliche, but it is like each successive generation, we need to feed into our youth. We need to be supporting them in a way that matters, a way that emphasizes the best values, not the things that we had to endure. If we can make their lives easier by passing along, making the path smoother, I think that's really important. But when it comes down to it, what we want the world to be lies in the hands of this next generation.
Wow, I really like that quote. And I know, Miranda, you're such a leader and we look up to you so much. And at one point you were a youth yourself. And that brings us to our next question is, how could you have benefited from having more mentorship and support as a young person?
Yeah, I think it's just good to have another voice, and to have someone that you can see yourself in. There are certain lessons that you certainly need to learn yourself. And I know there are a lot of people who I'm sure try to pass on lessons that I just like wasn't in the space to hear or just like disregarded. You learn best through failure sometimes. So that I think that is a natural progression of just maturing. But it is also useful to have those people who are planting seeds. So I think there are a lot of people, I think back, who planted seeds, whether that was received immediately or not, kind of irrelevant. They still took root and then blossomed later on. So I think that's really valuable to have people in your life who are speaking truth and life into you at a young age.
Those are some very wide words. I like your anatomy sort of using a seed, and not all seeds always grow at the same time if you're thinking of gardening. Sometimes they take a little more love and some more patience. So I really like how you referred that to a seed. That was a very good quote to use. So thank you, Miranda. And this concludes today's episodes of DTBY's Community Podcast. On behalf of the rest of the CYC and DTBY, I would like to thank you, Miranda, for your continuous support and your drive to positively impact the lives of youth. It takes a village to support and empower the leaders of tomorrow, and we can't make an impact alone. So we appreciate everyone in the community who steps up to support us. As we've mentioned before, Miranda will be hosting a workshop at Youth Inspire Community Day on November 5th. It's going to be an amazing workshop and all around a great event. So I encourage any young people aged 14 to 24 to pre-register for the event today. You don't want to miss out on this amazing opportunity to build and to be inspired, and also have the chance to listen to Miranda and maybe next year join the Mentorship with Miranda sessions. So thank you again, Miranda.
Thank you so much.